All the big clubs in the world have a certain tendency to ruin promising careers, but at Diego Simeone's Atlético Madrid, it's a little more than just a tendency. It's a tradition. Gelson Martins was the brightest jewel at the sport in Portugal and had just played at the 2018 FIFA World Cup in Russia when he arrived at Atlético Madrid at 23 years old. The right winger had recorded 27 goals and 25 assists in 140 matches in Portugal. And beyond his stats, Gelson was a true magician with the ball, capable of turning the Santiago Bernabéu upside down. But Diego Pablo Simeone doesn't like wingers. He's never liked them, and the rare times he bet on them, it was to move them away from the opponent's box, turning attackers like Ferreira, Carrasco and Samuel Lino into responsible fullbacks whose main priority was to defend. With Angel Correa on the bench, Cholo already had more than enough of that skill he so strongly dislikes. Gelson could never adapt to the style of a defensive team that forced him to play with his back to goal. In La Liga, Simeone played him 8 times, only one of them as a starter, and that was as a center forward to cover for the injured Diego Costa. His final record? 0 goals, 0 assists. And after just 1 season in Spain, Gelson left for AS Monaco. His time at Atletico ruined him so badly that he was never called up to the national team again. The fact that wingers don't find a place in Simeone's system had already been experienced by Atletico a year earlier, in 2017, when they paid 36 million euros for Vitolo, a starter for the Spanish national team who at that time became the 3rd most expensive signing in the club's history, behind only legendary monsters like Radamel Falcao and Antoine Griezmann. Vitolo had scored 28 goals and provided 44 assists, in addition to lifting the Europa League in 2014, 2015 and 2016 with Sevilla. His signing was full of drama because he left the team the day after Sevilla had probably announced his contract renewal. At Atletico, everything went wrong for Vitolo, who couldn't stop getting injured. He ended up appearing in 101 matches, barely managing 7 goals and 9 assists. He was loaned to Las Palmas and Getafe, and by the end of his long and lucrative contract with Atlético Madrid, Vitolo retired from football in 2024. Luciano Vietto, a kid from Racing Club in Avellaneda, and a great prospect in Argentine football, became the sensation of La Liga in 2015, scoring 20 goals and providing 8 assists with Villarreal. Atlético Madrid snatched him up immediately for 20 million euros, and at that very moment, for all practical purposes, the promising Argentine's career ended. And this despite Simeone being Vietto's #1 fan, having handed him his professional debut during his early days as a coach in Argentina. But the youngster couldn't earn a spot at Atletico and only contributed 3 goals and 5 assists before being loaned to Sevilla. Vietto returned a year later as a more experienced player, but in his second spell he played 10 matches, scored 0 goals, and provided 0 assists for a Simeone side that couldn't help channel his talent. From there, Luciano went to collect paychecks at Valencia, Fulham, Sporting Portugal, 3 clubs in Saudi Arabia, and finally back to Racing Club. Ciro Immobile and Alessio Cerci formed a dream partnership at Torino and in the Italian national team, but only one of them was lucky enough to avoid crossing paths with Atlético Madrid, and therefore enjoy a career full of success. The other was Cerci, who posted incredible numbers at Torino, 2 seasons, 21 goals and 23 assists in Serie A, which earned him a spot in the 2014 FIFA World Cup in Brazil. That's when Simeone signed him, and with that, The Italian saw his sporting death sentence: 114 minutes played, 0 goals, 0 assists. There's nothing more to add to Cerci's failure in La Liga. The right winger tried to wake up from his nightmare at Milan, Genoa, Verona, and Caraguccio, Serie B Salernitana, and Serie C Arezzo. But no, Cerci never again became a useful footballer, nor a happy man. Nico Gaitán made a name for himself at Boca Juniors, champions of the 2008 Apertura. He played a total of 78 matches for the Ceneice, and after 13 goals and 11 assists, was signed by Benfica. In Lisbon, Nico quickly became the #1 idol. He won 3 Portuguese league titles, led the Eagles to 2 Europa League finals, and established himself as one of the best playmakers in Europe. His numbers were impressive: 251 matches, 43 goals, 88 assists. In 2016, Atlético Madrid spent 25 million euros on the midfielder, and given the context, it was really a bargain. But Simeone didn't even try to find him a spot in a team where Saúl, Gavi and Koke were his untouchable midfield favorites, and Griezmann and Ferreira Carrasco were his preferred players in the attacking third. Gaitán's numbers at Atlético were poor: 4 goals and 5 assists in a year and a half, after which he was sold to China for just 5 million euros. Nico never recovered. Dalian, Chicago Fire, Lille, Braga, Peñarol, Pasos de Ferreira, and Sarmiento de Junín all tried to get something out of him, but ever since Cholo traded him, Gaitán forgot how to play football. Moussa Dembélé was such a good French striker that he was considered the 4th best winter signing of 2021. Back in the early days of this prestigious YouTube channel, the 24-year-old was supposed to give Atlético Madrid exactly what they needed to win the league: goals and depth in the attack that only had the veteran Luis Suarez and the young Joao Félix. 15 goals and 8 assists at Fulham, 26 goals and 15 assists at Celtic, 56 goals and 11 assists at Lyon, 0 goals and 0 assists at Atlético Madrid. Dembélé played just 140 minutes under Cholo Simeone. After leaving Atlético, the Frenchman never regained his level. He returned to Olympique Lyon and ended up in Saudi football.
Hey there! You might know Barak Fever in Spanish. Our channel has over 400,000 subscribers. Well, this is the official English version. Same content, same passion. Now in your language. But we need your help to grow. Hit that subscribe button and join us on this new journey. Now, let's get back to the video.
Santiago Arias not only won 3 league titles with PSV Eindhoven, where he contributed 10 goals and 21 assists in 5 solid seasons. His time in the Netherlands was so outstanding that he was named Eredivisie Player of the Year in 2018, an unusual honor for a simple right-back. With that huge reputation, he arrived at Atlético Madrid in 2018, but his style was far too attacking for Cholo, who balanced things by splitting his minutes equally with veteran Juanfran in his final season at the club. When Juanfran left for Brazil instead of trusting Arias, Cholo immediately signed Kieran Trippier and played the Englishman in every match. Arias left Atlético after scoring 1 goal and providing 3 assists in 2 years. He was sent to Bayer Leverkusen, suffered a horrific injury with the national team, and after stints at Granada, Cincinnati, and Bahia, he never resembled the PSV version of himself again. Héctor Herrera at Porto, 245 matches, 35 goals, 35 assists. Héctor Herrera, Diego Pablo Simeone's Atlético Madrid, 78 matches, 1 goal, 4 assists. The midfielder arrived in 2019. The same year Atletico sold the future Ballon d'Or winner to Manchester City. To fill Rodri's spot, Cholo built a midfield with Thomas Partey, Koke, Saúl, and ex-Real Madrid player Marcos Llorente, another new arrival. All of them were prioritized over Hector. The following year, the Ghanaian left for Arsenal, and instead of backing Herrera, Simeone signed Geoffrey Kondogbia and Lucas Torreira. Of Atletico's 6 midfielders, Herrera was the one who played the least under Cholo. The Mexican spent 3 seasons at Atleti, each year featuring last in the Argentine's plan, until at 32 he chose to leave for MLS and then Liga MX. More ruined? Impossible. Gelson Martínez played 3 seasons at Porto and finished as top scorer in the Portuguese league every single year. In 2015, Atlético Madrid signed him for 35 million, with a clear mission, just as Diego Forlán took the baton from Fernando Torres and passed it to Kun Agüero, who passed it to Radamel Falcao, who passed it to Diego Costa. Now it was Jackson's turn to make people forget the goals of the Spanish Brazilian who had been sold that year to Chelsea. But it wasn't meant to be. Simeone got the bare minimum out of him. The Colombian lasted just 6 months at the club, and after scoring 3 goals and providing 2 assists in 22 matches, he left for China. Cholo admitted his failure in managing Martínez, who stopped scoring goals altogether after leaving Atletico. The historic 2017 Monaco team that won Ligue 1 and reached the Champions League semifinals had 4 key players among its stars: Bernardo Silva, Kylian Mbappé, Radamel Falcao and Thomas Lemar. When the team was dismantled, PSG took 1 and Manchester City took others, but Atletico Madrid had fresh cash thanks to having reached 2 recent Champions League finals. In 2018, for the first time, instead of worrying about selling, they could afford to buy. So they spent 72 million euros on Lemar, an enormous amount, especially for the usually stingy Atletico. But it seemed like money well spent on a young and brilliant player, fresh of winning the World Cup. However, Lemar was always injured, and when he wasn't, he never justified even a fraction of his price tag. At Monaco, he played 127 matches. At Atletico, he played 186. And even though he played far fewer matches at Monaco, Lemar managed 22 goals and 32 assists there, compared to a meager 10 goals and 19 assists in 7 seasons under Simeone. Today, Lemar is only 29 years old and against all odds will try to revive his career at Girona. Joao Félix only played 6 months in the Portuguese league. In that time, he played 30 matches, scored 17 goals and provided 10 assists with Benfica, and that was enough for him to win the 2019 Golden Boy Award for the best young player in Europe, ahead of Jadon Sancho and Erling Haaland. Atletico Madrid went crazy and paid 127 million euros, convinced that this kid will win them the Champions League that had eluded them in 2014 and 2016. However, in 3 lackluster and a half seasons with Atletico, Felix scored 34 goals and provided 18 assists. In his first La Liga season, Joao was a starter in only 21 matches. In his second year, far from becoming a regular in the 11, Cholo started him in just 14 games, and in his third, in 1 less. By the 4th season, his non-existent relationship with Cholo was unsustainable, and Joao Félix left for Chelsea, then Barca, then Chelsea again, then Milan, and then Saudi Arabia. Since signing for Atletico, the Portuguese has had the fastest career free fall in history. In Diego Simeone's defense, it must be said that not in every case does he permanently ruin the careers of players who failed at Atletico Madrid. Several footballers, after being wasted by Simeone, did manage to soar far from the Metropolitano. For example, Mateus Cunha, who under Simeone scored 7 goals and provided 8 assists in 54 matches, later thrived at Wolverhampton with 33 goals and 14 assists in 92 matches. A performance that earned him a 74 million euros move to Manchester United. Raúl Jiménez is another player who didn't perform at Atletico. 28 matches, 1 goal, 2 assists. And then he stood out at Benfica and made history at Wolverhampton. If any club has profited from Cholo's cast-offs, it's the Wolves. Diego Jota was signed by Atletico in 2016, but never even made his debut in Spain. He went on to shine at Wolverhampton and Liverpool. When it comes to academy products, Simeone never gave a first-team chance to Theo Hernandez, a left-back who went on to succeed at Alaves, Milan, and with the French national team. Same case for Moroccan goalkeeper Bono, who was never even called up by Cholo and eventually proved himself to be one of the most valuable goalkeepers in the world.